Hey, welcome aboard. You're with the A Game. I'm Rob Acampora from the Shared Universe Studios here on the Jersey Shore. Doing a little earlier than usual, but hey, look, any chance I can get a guy that somehow we don't officially know each other, but yet there are so many people we know in common. It's crazy. So it's kind of cool that I kind of feel like I know him. And I'm wearing this shirt especially because when we're going to talk about the real world, if you go back 29 years ago, there was episode 8, which, by the way, was in this studio with one of the cast members. So I'm very proud to have been a part of the station. I'm sure Eric does remember it from living in Ocean Township, New Jersey. I hope. I'm not pressuring him, but what's going on, man? Thanks for checking in.
Yeah, I'm good, Rob. How are you?
Doing good, man. Doing good. I mean, welcome to the phenomenon once again. How does all this feel that everywhere you turn is like, whether it's Us Magazine or Entertainment Weekly or the E! Channel or even the New York Times? I mean, all the press that's going on about this reunion for the real world.
Yeah, it's a big push. Obviously for them, talking about business, it's a whole new streaming channel
Right.
that Viacom CBS is opening up to, and for them to choose us, to be the you know the people that are going to help to launch that is pretty
Right.
cool. So yeah, they're putting a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of resources behind all of it. And yeah, 29 years later, come full circle, it's like it's happening all over again. It's a little surreal,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's an interesting feeling. Doing this again,
Right.
29 years later.
With the difference being that you sort of have the knowledge from the first time coming into this, but are you surprised by the attention? I mean, in a sense, I'm not, because the reality being, and there's the key word, reality, when you look back on that show, you guys kind of launched the phenomenon. Unofficially, that's what you guys did.
Yeah, I mean, every reality show that you see today is basically one of our children. So
That's true.
we are the elders of reality TV.
And you never thought you'd be saying that, like, oh, wait a minute, I'm one of the eldest? What? Hold it. No, I can't be that old. Stop.
Yeah, no, back then I definitely wasn't thinking it, but now, I'm going to be 50 this year. So,
Yeah.
what a great way to turn 50 and be a part of this. There's so much nostalgia in the air, and just connecting with people that have been inspired in one way or another
Right.
about what we did it's amazing. You can't really put it into words. Like I said, it is surreal. Um, but we changed the landscape of media.
Absolutely,
It
you
would
did.
never be the same, and it all
No.
started with us. So it's a pretty cool thing. Yeah, we were inducted into the Television Hall of Fame many years ago. So that's pretty cool.
Absolutely. What was that feeling like when you realized, like, wait a minute, you're recognizing our little show as worthy of the Hall of Fame?
I know, it's crazy, brother, but it's like the gift that just keeps on giving, and this even takes it to a whole another level.
Yeah.
29 years later to do this all over again. I'm the kind of person, when I was a little kid back in Jersey, I used to carry around this Curious George stuffed animal,
Oh, they were.
and
Oh, come on, I'm about the same age as you. I totally remember those
yeah,
books, and it seemed like every kid
yeah.
around age 4 or 5, if you read the books, you had to have the stuffed animal for sure.
Yeah, but I was I'm like that. I'm like Curious George. I always ask why, and I've been doing that since I'm a little kid. And again, I find myself back in that place of, why,
Mm-hmm.
now, why is it happening now, and to see, where I am today, where the world is today, to look at the
Yes.
world stage
Mm-hmm.
and everything that's happening in front of our eyes with the pandemic and the whole thing. There's so much separation and division and uncertainty and questions of, who to trust and all this, corporate, um, I don't know, however you want to look at it, but this, it's just this corruption and everybody's like, what is really going on here? Like,
Mhm.
what's going on? And I was just saying earlier, we just did an interview with the whole cast,
Right.
and I was saying earlier, 29 years ago, we opened up a door for society to communicate about things that were really taboo or
Some of it, absolutely.
unspoken,
You know what?
right?
I got to give props to you on that. You hit upon something that I was actually going to try to explain in a sense when I look at Kevin in that sense. I mean,
Mhm.
everybody was ahead of the curve, but it always seemed like Kevin was so far ahead of the curve when you look back 29 years ago and you look at society today. Would you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Kevin's conversation is exactly the same, and
Yeah.
that's the question. How much has really changed?
Yeah.
How much have we really evolved as a
Right.
species? Spiritually speaking.
Yeah.
And when you look at the landscape today, you're like, we have we
Mm,
really evolved? Because, like I said, there's more separation and division now that's in our face than there was 29 years ago. But that's a testament to social media,
yeah.
and the internet. For people to be able to communicate the way that we do in a split second. You can talk to somebody in China and ask them how they feel and what are their beliefs, and all that. And yeah, we catapulted that in a big way. And I think about Norm. Norm was the very first person to go public and
Right.
openly talk about his sexuality. No one was doing that. There wasn't even an outlet for
No,
it
there wasn't. It
in the
really wasn't.
media. Yeah, so it was groundbreaking, and now to see it come back, I think I have a good idea about why it's happened as my curious George antennas go up.
I like this.
But as I was saying, yeah, we opened up a door to have a conversation that people weren't having. So now 29 years later, what I see, our role in this now is offering a solution to the problem, to offer a solution
Hmm.
to the separation and the division and the uncertainty. And I feel like now we have access
Hmm.
to information that we didn't have before.
True.
And in the line of work that I'm in, and the lifestyle that I have, working with plant medicine and alternative medicine and things like that, like there are solutions. And and you got to start. Back in the day, you really had to dig for it, but now it's right in the palm of your hand. Everybody's got one for these things that I'm talking on, so that information is accessible.
I'm going to talk more about the show, but since you kind of segued into what you're doing, I want to mention your website, IamEricNies.com. Eric has been doing health and wellness as a facilitator for many, many years now. And you are definitely somebody who's been a helper. You're somebody who basically is using your life experience and the tools that you have acquired, so to speak, and to help others. And I got to ask, I mean, I've seen the website. How difficult has it been during the pandemic to continue what you're doing, your mission?
It actually has helped me
Hmm.
because, like I was saying earlier, the uncertainty.
Right.
The pandemic has actually, has brought to the surface a lot of emotion that
It's
people are
true.
suppressing. Because
Mhm.
in my line of work, what I do is I bring somebody into the desert, and
Mhm.
I disconnect them from society and all of the things that create distractions. And so the pandemic actually, um, has done what I do with people. It's
Mhm.
taken away entertainment. It's taken away bars and clubs. It's taken away all of that. So
Right.
people are at home. They don't have an outlet.
Mhm.
They don't really have access to the things that have been assisting them in managing and coping and assisting in suppressing
Right.
the emotions down into their bodies, and it's all coming to the surface. So I'm getting a lot more phone calls.
Oh, hey, look, you know what? I think we all need a little, as I like to say, it's important in this time to have good mental health and a good mental outlook. I think it
Yes.
becomes more important if we've learned anything. I mean, we're all dealing with it the way we have to deal with it. And we are hopefully going to get to a point, maybe by the end of summer, that we can all start to feel a little more normal. But in the meantime, the mental stress that we've all gone through, everybody in one way, shape, or form, I believe, Eric, has gone through this. And it seems like you said, people are coming to you a lot more because they do need that release. They need the relief. They need to find something to get, for lack of a better term, stay sane.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. It's very true.
Yeah. Again, the website is IamEricNies.com. Visit it at your leisure. We will talk more about the real world with Eric Nies here on the A Game. I want to talk about your growing up in Jersey, because interesting about your family dynamic. If I can mention your father, because I'm a big basketball fan. Give me photo number 2, Christian. Your dad, I didn't realize this until a mutual friend of ours, Jim Pease, kind of pointed this out to me. 31 years, an NBA referee. And I didn't make the connection to Jack Nies. I'm like, that's his father? Oh, my God. And that had to be kind of an interesting thing, having that dynamic growing up. And I know from doing my homework, I mean, he was an all-state basketball player here in Jersey. He always was involved in basketball in one way, shape, or form. And then he becomes, I think he's one of like 6 referees in the history of the game to actually referee 2,000 or more regular season games. I mean, he is one of the best referees in the history of the game.
Yeah, it was incredible growing up with that, especially as a kid, sitting courtside and hanging out in a locker room with Larry Bird and Magic Johnson and, just these legends. There's funny, one summer, Dave Wall, he was a head coach there. So Dave Wall was a really good friend of my father's and my family. And when Dave went to the Milwaukee Bucks, there's big summer leagues in Jersey. And
the Jersey Shore Basketball League was legendary when we were kids. Absolutely. Outdoor basketball. I mean, Rick Barry was playing there every year when he was retired. It was just always a fun thing to go out and watch the Jersey Shore Basketball League as a kid.
Yeah. So my dad, when I was like 10 years old, he was asked to go to Puerto Rico to ref in the summer league there.
Cool.
And so we would pack up the house and we would move to Puerto Rico for the summer. Well, one summer we rented out our house to like 3 or 4 of the Milwaukee Bucks so that they could come down and play in the summer league. And
nice.
Dave Wall had set that up. So yeah, I was obviously an athlete. My brother was an athlete. My family, my extended family, going back to my great uncle, actually played with Vince Lombardi. My great uncle, Ed Franco, who is my mom's father's brother, is considered one of the greatest offensive linemen to ever play the game. Played with Vince Lombardi. He was one of the 7 blocks of granite in the years of Fordham. So, I grew up in sports, and that's what it was all about.
Yeah, and it's funny. Since you mentioned your brother, give me photo number 7, Christian, because your brother, by the way, was no slouch as a punter in his days at the University of Arizona, wound up on the Buffalo Bills. He's one of the to give an idea how rare a kicker is drafted in the NFL draft. His brother got drafted in the 6th round by the Buffalo Bills, and NFL teams don't waste draft picks on kickers or punters. So if you're getting drafted, you're an elite of the elite at that point. So, I mean, it's a credit to your brother that he was considered one of the best. I think he was averaging like 42 yards a punt. And yeah, I'm a wealth of useless information that I would even know this.
I see that. Wow. You got a lot of info there. But, speaking to people from Jersey, if anybody's been to our house in West Allenhurst, that's where it all started. Me and John in front of the house, kicking the ball back and forth to each other. We used to do it for hours. And there was a tree, this tree in the street, and it was all about kicking the ball up and over the tree.
Okay, yeah, so the trees would be like make goalposts, so to speak. Yeah.
Well, now this was 50, 60, 70, I don't know, 100 feet. Big tree. Big giant tree.
Oh, okay. I'm getting the picture, definitely.
Exactly. And so, it was just competition in our house. He was 4 years older than me. He was my idol, probably, one of the best athletes to come out of New Jersey at his time. But my brother will tell you he didn't want to be a punter. That's the last thing that he wanted to be. He wanted to be a receiver. And the story goes,
Yeah, I was about to say, how did he get sidetracked into kicking?
yeah. Well, he he went to junior college, went to Nassau, and then
Hmm.
walked on to the University of Arizona.
Hmm.
And he didn't want to tell the coaches that he was a kicker. He kept that silent. And they really needed a kicker. And then what happened, because he walked on his first year, he wasn't getting playing time as a receiver.
Hmm.
And so he really, he obviously wanted to be on the field. And so he went up to the coach and was like, yeah, I see we're struggling with the kicker and the punter. He knew he was better than both of the guys.
Okay, there you go.
And so he wanted to get his playing time. So he went to the coach and he said, yeah, by the way, I'm also a punter and a kicker. And then he got the job, obviously.
Good stuff. And by the way, I want to give props to your brother. He released a book within the last year. Christian, give me a photo 4 just so I can give a real plug. It's available right now on Amazon Prime. It's called Punt. It's a fascinating story about your brother and the trials and tribulations he went through to be where he is now today. I haven't read it yet. Looking forward to it because this seems like a very interesting book. And you guys definitely have some very interesting journeys you both have taken just to get to where you're at today.
Oh, my God. I mean, we could talk for hours and hours and hours about, stories. I mean, you're from Jersey. People who are listening are from Jersey.
And
there's,
beyond, I would think. But there's a lot of Jersey people listening for sure.
well, most people that are from Jersey, you understand that there's something in the water.
God, yeah.
It's not just about the pizza. There's something.
Or the bagels for that matter, but
the bagels. That's right, and the bagels. But growing up on the Jersey Shore and just the characters that we grew up with, one guy was always pushing the next guy.
That's true.
And one guy was like, I'm gonna outdo the other guy. And that's how it was. That's how it was in Jersey. Somebody was always trying to outdo somebody.
Oh, so, you can do that? No. I can do that. No, I can do that one more than you. No, 3 more than you.
Exactly. Yeah.
Good stuff with Eric Nies here on the A Game. Your life after MTV. Well, actually, let's say after The Real World, winding up on the grind. I mean, were you surprised that they approached you about that, or was that something that you kind of said, well, you know what, this seems like a natural progression at that point?
No, not at all. It was a big surprise. I mean, I was incredibly uncomfortable in front of the camera. Because there's two different worlds of being in reality TV and then being a host.
Right.
When you have something to say and you got to deliver it, and there's a mark and there's a time and there's business that you have to deliver. And when I got the call for that, I remember sitting in my den in my friend's house practicing, in front of a camera, trying to deliver those lines. And when I got the grind, that very first show, I couldn't even feel my legs. I was so nervous. There's 300 kids in the room. I was a house head growing up, and I loved being in the club scene. And, I was probably in a club 4 nights a week in New York at that time, just having a good time, having fun. So that was a dream for me. Because I love the music, I love the scene, and to be the host of a dance show like that at 20, 21 years old, was a dream. But it took me a while to get comfortable, being in front of the camera like that with a microphone. But everybody on the grind was amazing. All the dancers, a lot of them became really good friends of mine, and they helped me to feel really comfortable, and they supported me, and I supported them. And it was really a beautiful relationship with everybody on that show.
Just to give you how big the grind was for people who don't know, give me photo number 8, Christian. You know it's big when videos are coming out and they're selling millions upon millions in the workout genre. I mean, looking back, if you were that surprised by the grind, were you even more surprised by the success of the workouts?
Well, I don't know if after I had a taste of the grind. So there was Real World fame,
right,
and then there was grind fame,
and it is 2 different animals. You're right, yeah,
2 totally different animals. And when the grind fame kicked in, and I couldn't go to a mall you know, I couldn't walk through a mall. I had to be, you know, escorted out of malls sometimes because
Right.
the grind was in 90 million homes around the world.
Yeah.
We were second to Baywatch. That was unheard of.
Yeah.
And so when we started doing personalized shout outs
Mm-hmm.
to, you know, random people all around the world, somebody would write a letter into the grind because they had an attraction to one of the dancers, and the dancer would come on at the end of the show and do a shout out, and then they would say something to that person. It became so personal, and the fans became just huge. And also, obviously, it helps to have a bunch of really sexy, beautiful people with MTV angled shots of somebody standing on a riser. You know, it was just selling sex and music and dancing. It's sexual. It's it's
It was a big part of
seductive.
that.
It's all
You
that.
summed up the '90s pretty much in that statement. A lot of the '90s was that. It really was.
Oh yeah, yeah. They knew what they needed to do to get viewers and to sell product. I mean, that's
Mm-hmm.
what it's all about at the end of the day. You
Yeah.
got to keep your advertisers happy, and you got to sell product. So how
You
do
really,
you do that?
Eric, I give you credit. You really understand the game of this. You really understand it, especially as you're going in. And let me give a number 6 up here. So we'll give a plug real quick for Paramount Plus, who will be carrying the Real World reunion. Again, since we're in the business of doing business, let me mention that this stream starts on the 4th. And you can sign up for Paramount Plus at any time, thanks to Viacom CBS and their little merger that they've done together. It was formerly ABC All Access. Can I mention anything else? No, I think I've done enough selling on that. But again, you get the game, and I think not everybody who has got the experience that you have even understands a little bit of the game. You really did become a student of this, don't you believe that?
Absolutely. I think I'm a student of life. You know, whatever it is that
Good
I
way of
get
putting
involved in, um, I want to understand, you know, who I'm dealing with.
it.
But
Mm-hmm.
you know, that didn't come easy. That came with failing. That came with falling. That came with losing everything. That
Yeah.
came with almost losing my life. The story runs deep, and
Yeah.
so you know, when you go through adversity, challenges, potential suicide,
Yeah.
self-destructive, drugs, you know, making hundreds of thousands of dollars, having it stolen from you,
Right.
losing your career. You know, you want to know why. That's the Curious George comes back in. So
Mm-hmm.
you want to understand this game. You want to understand, well, what are we doing here? What is really happening on this little tiny little blue planet floating through
Right.
space?
And
And
I was about to say,
yeah,
if I could interject, that Curious George and you, I get the feeling that really helped you during the low times. As you've said, there have
hmm
been some lows along with the highs, and to try to get through the lows, you had to be like, okay, how did I get here? What caused it? Why am I here?
yep,
And figure out, well, okay, now that I got all this figured, Curious George wants to get out of this. So me being curious,
yes.
I need to find the path to get to someplace.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Understanding the game and how to play it.
Mm-hmm.
And that after the grind and all that stuff happened, I had this manager that took advantage of me, stole a lot of money from me. My career came to a screeching halt. I was at the lowest point in my life, contemplating taking my life at one point, and I needed a way out. And
Right.
that's when I met my grandmaster. That's when John and I met our first teacher, who
Mm-hmm.
was an eighth generation Far East Grand Master of Chinese medicine, 21 then black belt of 3
Mm-hmm.
different martial arts. And I lived with him and his family off and on for about 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
I trained with him, studied with him,
Wow.
and you know, got to learn a lot about myself, why I'm here, what's happening on this planet, and a little taste of what my mission is, and the path that I choose. What's my purpose? How am I serving humanity? How am I giving back to humanity for what was given to me? And that would be a game changer for me.
You definitely seem like, I mean, it's amazing because, again, some people go down this spiral and don't come out of it. And you managed to come from, okay, you became a legitimate teen idol and you became this person who, for about 5 years, is like, Eric Nies, we know who he is. And then all of a sudden it unravels, but you found yourself. And I applaud you for that because that's
Thank
not
you.
an easy thing to do. It is definitely not an easy thing to kind of say, okay, I'm going to go down the abyss, but I'm going to come back up. I'm going to find myself. I'm going to feel good about myself. And I'm going to go down this path again, like you're doing with the real world. Even with this, you're kind of going in and going, hey, you can throw anything at me. I'm going to handle it.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I bring that up with respect because I know reading the article in the New York Times recently and some of the things that are coming out about the show. Now, I'm going to read your quote because and again, I'm saying this not that you have to answer to anything on this because I don't want to give away anything. Go get the stream. This is the sales pitch. But Eric is coming in not in the loft, but through video, not by his choice. And I read you the quote from the New York Times. This was not by my choice, but I accept the outcome. More will be revealed in the future. Now, we don't know if it'll be revealed during the MTV Paramount Plus run here, but obviously more will be coming out soon. But I guess the best way to put it is watch and see what happens.
Well, what I can say about that today.
No, fair enough. I appreciate you and being able to say anything. Absolutely. I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, it will be revealed 100% in the first episode.
Oh, great. Okay.
And it's an interesting thing, because I say not by my choice. But I do believe in a higher power.
Okay.
I do believe in a divine order. I believe we have our karma and we have our destiny, but I feel, we're responsible for our karma and you have a choice. You can either deal with your karma or not.
Right.
But your destiny is something that I believe that you can choose to alter by the choices that you make in your life in the moment. So I believe that there are some things that are written, but those things they can change, obviously. So I do believe that there is a higher purpose and divine order of why it happened this way, and I think more will be revealed in the future. But it is very interesting as to what happened and why. I guess we'll find out.
I appreciate you even giving us that much. I really do, my friend. Again, Paramount Plus, again, on the 4th, it will be launching the debut of not only streaming service, but of the Real World reunion. Get ready for it. Enjoy it. Eric Nies here on the A Game. Excuse me 1 second. I do a segment called Random Shots. These are questions that can be coming from anywhere. Part of it is a little bit of a dive into your social media. Part of it is from people you know. I kid you not.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Can I get names?
You can. I will give you names on this.
Hold on.
That's only fair.
Let me get ready for this.
He's like he's digging in now. All right, brother. I'm going to start with a couple of easy ones. Obviously, we talked about your father being an NBA referee. Who was the team growing up for you?
Oh, man. In my early days, it was the Sixers.
Ooh, okay, Philly guy. All right. Well, Dr. J. I mean, after he left the Nets, he came to the Sixers, so I can respect that.
Yeah, but I loved Andrew Toney. I loved Andrew Toney's jump shot. I loved his jump shot. And I mean, I think anybody at that time when you were young, of course, you had to be a Jordan fan. He became my idol.
Sure.
I wanted to be. I loved his fadeaway. I loved his fadeaway jump shot, and I just tried to mimic that anytime that I played. Because you can't. There's nothing you can do about it.
Right.
If you perfect that fadeaway jump shot, the only person that's going to stop that is somebody who's like 7 foot. Right.
Now,
unless you got a nice arc.
Yeah. And speaking of 7-footers, and back then, even though he was an unsung player, Caldwell Jones could block everything. Speaking of 7-footers for the 76ers. Right. Always loved Caldwell because he was like, he came in the game and it's like, oh, no, we're going to shut you down. We got the 6-point lead. We'll hold it. Thank you.
Yeah. Darryl Dawkins, Bobby Jones, Maurice Cheeks, the Doc. I love the Sixers. Yeah.
Good stuff. I don't know. Okay. I would have thought you maybe have said the Knicks. I mean, yeah, I know you and Kevin went to a game at Madison Square Garden during the original Real World. So I thought maybe the Knicks, but I could see you're definitely big time on the Sixers.
Yeah.
What was harder for you? And I am going to give props to there we go. Andrea Corby Fine, who checked in from Philadelphia and giving me, hey, looking forward to this session with Eric. Fun fact, I was a video editor for his apparatus product infomercial that he did back in the day. So it made me think of this question, because you've done all three of these things. What was harder for you to do? Try to work as a assignment reporter for Fox 5 in New York, acting in a film, which you did in Above the Rim, or doing that product infomercial? Which one of those three do you think, looking at, and I get the feeling acting was kind of hard, because as you said, you were learning how to be a host and you learning how to act, and maybe the infomercial was a little easier because you had all the experience in the grind. So that's what I'm leaning toward. That was the order of the three.
Well,
I like making you think, brother.
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I don't know. I take everything in stride. I wouldn't say that one is more difficult than the other, but what this does bring up for me is the short amount of time that I had in acting.
Right.
Was this movie that I did called Above the Rim. And I played this guy Montrose in the beginning of the movie, and they basically casted me for that because I could play basketball. And and so there was my scene. One of the scenes in the beginning is I hit this 3-pointer that puts us up over them, and we ultimately win the game. So you got to hit the shot. So when I went to go do the casting, I was just banging threes, no problem.
Nice.
And so I'm in Brooklyn, in this gym in Brooklyn, and everybody's there for the shot. And they call me up. They're like, "All right, Eric, we're gonna rehearse your 3-pointer."
Okay.
I said, "Okay, no problem." I swear to God, I must have taken like 25 shots. I didn't hit one.
Of course, when it really counted, right?
And I was known. They used to call me the one-hit wonder, because for some reason I could never rehearsing for things was always a problem for me.
Okay.
When the light would go on the camera, everything would just fade away, and I would be in the moment and I could deliver. And
I think your grind experience helps you in that situation, because that's kind of what you have to do as a host. It's like, boom, Mark, here we go. You got to hit it.
Exactly. And so I missed like 25 shots, and the director comes up to me and he's like, this is like the big shot. Are you gonna? Can you hit it? And I said, you know what? I was like, dude, just roll the camera, and let's do it. And sure enough, one time, ran it through, hit the jumper. The place went crazy, and they were like, "We got it. Let's move on."
Nice. Speaking of that
was a great moment.
It had to be, and the cast was amazing. But not when you're shooting a film, you don't always get a chance to interact with some of the stars. But two of those people in that amazing movie are no longer with us. I mean, looking back with Tupac, whose career, I think he would have been an amazing actor. Did you see the talent in him at that point and realize this guy's going to be huge?
Oh, absolutely. That's a great question. You got all the information. I got to spend a week with Tupac, and I saw a side of Tupac. It's not that persona that you see, that you did see, out in the press and all that. And it's interesting because Kevin Powell, who's on the show, he's writing a book about Tupac. And,
oh, wow. Yeah.
And he interviewed me for it. It was like a 2-hour interview. And he just said that of the 200 people that he interviewed for that book, that the one that he did with me stood out the most about Tupac.
That's great.
So that's an interesting thing when you're in this business and you get to see both sides of people. The same thing happened with Biggie Smalls. I was able to, I had some pretty incredible experiences with Biggie, not in front of the camera, and it just changes your whole perspective on actors, singers. You see one side, but there's another side, unless you're doing what I do, You're getting it straight. This is authentic. There's
Right.
no, I'm Eric Nies today, and then tomorrow I'm somebody else. So,
And as much as you
yeah.
embrace your past and as much as you enjoyed it, you just seem so much like, hey, I like where I'm at today. This is my calling. This is my thing. I'm glad I'm here.
Oh yeah, 100%. I feel blessed. I just gratitude and just thankful for everything that's happened to me in my life, all the ups and the downs, the angels, the demons, and everything in between. I mean, if it's the reason why I do the work that I do. I had to save my own life, and I had
Yeah.
some incredible people, mentors and masters that came into my life at the right moment. They say, your teacher will arrive when you're ready. And I've had a number of teachers in my life that showed up at just the right moment. The question is do you see it,
Right.
know it, and do you engage in it and take advantage of it? And that's one thing that I am grateful for, that I took advantage of those opportunities to spend time with some incredible, I call them wisdom keepers.
Good stuff. And great stories, by the way. I'm glad we're going down this path. And by the way, I should mention Bernie Mac was the other great actor who left way too soon, who was also a part of that movie. I got to give props to him. I've always been a big fan of Bernie's.
Yeah.
More random shots with my friend Eric Nies here. Okay, I'm going to paint the picture. I'll call out who gave me this information in a second. So I want you to go back. 1970s.
Maybe I can guess.
Okay, childhood, a big wheel, and lost teeth. Does any of this ring a bell?
A big wheel and lost teeth.
It involved you, your brother, and the person who we'll call out in a second. But apparently you were on the big wheel.
Yeah, but it wasn't me who lost the teeth, was it?
No, you did not lose the teeth.
No, because I lost my teeth in another situation. It wasn't a big wheel.
Right, but apparently you were on the big wheel, and this is where you coming down kind of, as...
Oh, no, I've wrecked somebody on a big wheel. Who was that?
If I may, Steve Kasakis, thank you so much for giving me this.
Steve Kasakis, my brother Steve. Oh, my God. That is so funny.
I couldn't. I said, look, I've got to use this. He's like, go right ahead. I mean, when he told me the story, I'm dying.
That's so great. Yeah, I love Steve. He was my neighbor, lived around the street.
Right.
Yeah. Steve's got a lot of stories. That's for sure.
But that one in particular, obviously, was just like a freak accident. Apparently, you were coming down the driveway, and you, Steve, and your brother are riding bikes, and then boom.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, I can't say that I know for sure.
Okay.
But there is a good chance at that time in my life, I was going for them. I was going for them. Maybe.
Oh, maybe. The truth comes out. Oh,
we were crazy. We were so crazy.
We're kids. We do stuff like this. This happens.
Yep.
All right, 2 more random shots for you, brother. We were talking about music in the grind earlier. Give me 2 or 3 dance tunes that are necessary for anybody's collection in your mind.
Oh, I don't even think that you would know them.
Okay, that's good.
Unless you are a house head. I mean, my ultimate all-time favorite of all time is one of the most incredible classics is "Love Is the Message" by MFSB, Mother, Father, Sister, Brother. Yep. It was an orchestra back in the 70s. And it's one of the most classic, tracks of all time. Love Is the Message.
Mm-hmm.
Another one that stands out to me is Dance Ritual by Masters at Work, Little Louis Vega.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. But bro, I could give you hundreds of them. There's so many house tracks that it's for me. They're car stoppers. Like if I'm driving my car and I'm listening to a track, I don't know if you do. I just saw a video that went viral of this guy in the snow who's just next to his truck, and he's outside next to his truck going off listening to a house track, because sometimes you can't help yourself. You just gotta do it. You gotta
Absolutely.
do it. So yeah.
I now want to get you, and I know Matt Pinfield came to MTV kind of probably when you left. Did your paths cross by any chance?
I've met Matt before. We've talked back in the day.
Right. I just picture a conversation because Matt knows just about every kind of music known to man. With your knowledge in that genre of music, and Matt knows everything, I'm like going, I just want to sit back and watch you two talk for a couple hours because I'd be like, this will be a good conversation.
Oh, I got no business being in a room with Matt. No business.
Well
Bow
said.
down to Matt.
Hey, that's my guy. That's my guy. He taught me so much. That it's part of the reason why I'm wearing this shirt, because I remember that episode when Andre came down to the station, and it was like a big deal. You know, we don't our little station in Eatontown does not get camera crews like we did. So it's like, you know, you're like, what the heck is going on here? And there's Matt, and suddenly there he is on MTV, and his career kind of got started a little bit through The Real World because of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good stuff. All right, one more random shot. This is just a guess because it's amazing how many mutual friends we actually have and we've never met. And I'm looking on Facebook, I'm going, all right, we've got more than one and less than 100. You want to take a guess somewhere between 1 and 100 how many mutual friends we have on Facebook?
I don't know. That's got to be up in maybe the 60s.
Bingo. Well done. 64. Nicely played. Christian, give me photo number 6 one more time. Let's do the big plug one more time. For Paramount Plus, it debuts on March 4th. The originals are back. They're all there. The Real World Reunion, New York City. Get all the details through Paramount Plus. It is not a large fee to become a subscriber, so it'll be well worth your time, and you're going to have a lot of interesting things that we talked about will come to light. So if you're a fan, this is much watch. Eric, congratulations on this. Welcome back, even though you've not been out of it. You've just been in a different world, and I'll mention your world again. I am ericnies.com. If you are somebody who's looking for health and wellness, Eric is there. Read his website. Send him an email. He will be there, and he will give you some help, and you can hear he's a very positive person. And in a world where right now we can all use a little more positivity, a little more channeling, this is a good thing. And by the way, where the hell are you at? Because it's beautiful behind you.
I'm actually in the moment. I'm in Santa Barbara, California. It's a beautiful day. The sun's out. It's nice and warm.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you taking your time out in Santa Barbara to do this. This has been a blast, my friend.
Yeah, maybe we can revisit in a couple of months. I'm going to be down in Peru in the jungle working with some plant medicine, some ayahuasca, and some different master plant teachers down there. And I think I'm going to be probably broadcasting from down there on some level, because I really want to bring more attention, to the plants and the healing that takes place. There's actually that thing that I can't talk about. Yeah, I'll just let you know. I'll just say this. There's some medicine from the jungle that assisted me.
We definitely need to follow up in a few months. We'll keep in touch, and we'll definitely do this again for sure.
Yeah, let's do it. Sounds
you
good,
got it, brother. Thank you so much, Eric, and my best to you. I'm glad we got to mention your family too. Fascinating, great stories overall. Fantastic. Thank you again.
Right on. Thank you. Many blessings to you and your family on your journey.
Thank you very much.
Next time.
Absolutely. And by the way, next time for the A Game will be Saturday night, 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 Pacific. Check Facebook and find out who my guest will be by Thursday. Until then, for Eric Nies, I'm Rob Acampora. It's been a blast. I'll see you soon.